You are listening to The Thought Leaders Show with the world's cutting-edge, hottest innovators, influencers, and impact makers today. If you are looking for inspiration and motivation, listen in. Welcome to The Thought Leaders Show. Now, here's your host.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Michele Scism. Michele knows what it's like to be a serial entrepreneur who has failed miserably at business and even had at one time a bank calling her demanding, now listen to this, demanding that she return their $1.5 million. And she also knows how it feels to sign the contract to sell her company for $9 million. Michele Scism is driven, she's decisive, and she doesn't pull punches. She's known as the results lady. Welcome, Michele.
Yay, thank you, Tammy. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, your background is so interesting and phenomenal, and I heard a little bit of it while I was at the Harvard Faculty Club, where I met you at the Business Expert Forum. And the cool part about that was that you had the honor of being the first speaker of the day, and of course, you held the audience's attention with your story. So I'd actually like you to share that story with us, if you would.
Absolutely. I, as you said, I am a serial entrepreneur. I am third generation. I was born into a family that had kids to guarantee they had employees. I mean, when I was born, my family owned a grocery store, a mobile home park, a wrecker service. My dad started the trucking company when I was 7. We were that family that if they thought they could make a dime at it, they did it. And we've done just about everything you can imagine. So I grew up in business as an entrepreneur my entire life. I mean, every family conversation, every family meal, every holiday, it was about business. And I absolutely loved it. I really learned how to count in the grocery store. I learned everything I know about leading people and selling and marketing and, just everything about building business from the trenches and following my dad and my grandfather, just right at their heels, learning everything I could. I think I was truly blessed to be in that situation for so long. I am that person that just kind of breathes business. I go to bed thinking about it at night and I wake up thinking about it in the morning. And so because of that, I have just had opportunities throughout my life that are just absolutely amazing. And, I did actually for 2 years have a real 9-to-5 job. I thought I should try that. And it was just not my cup of tea. I lasted about 2 years and had to quit because I thought I was going to kill somebody because nobody made a decision. And I went back to working with my father at that point, back in the trucking company. I spent about 20 years of my life in the trucking industry. It was usually me and 100 guys in a room. And that's the company, actually, when you did the intro, that is the company that the bank called asking for their $1.5 million back. That's not a phone call you guys ever want to receive. You pick up the phone and you hear the banker say, "Hey, Michele, you and your dad in the office?" And usually the banker doesn't come see you. You know what I mean? So that was interesting and not a lot of fun. However, it taught me some amazing things about business and watching as we as a family navigated through that time together. We did not actually have to come up with the 1.5 million. We worked diligently to figure out a plan. We restructured our company. We did all kinds of things. And we found a government program that would back our loan. And so that program allowed us to go 3 years just paying interest and not towards the principal. And the government backed the principal. And that was what turned everything around. We were able to save that company. And that is the company that we sold in 2007 for $9 million. That year, we sold our trucking company and our grocery store, and my entire family retired for a little while. I don't know how many of you out there retired, but if you are an entrepreneur at heart, it just doesn't go away. You keep going. So we do have lots of other ventures that we are in as family members now and as individuals. So it's just super exciting. But I learned so much. Tammy, the story that you were talking about that I told at Harvard on June 26, 2014, I remember it vividly because it was my birthday and my phone rang. It was my mother. I was expecting the call. We were going to talk about where we were going to eat dinner for my birthday that day. And instead, I heard these words. I heard, "Sissy, your dad's on the floor and I can't wake him up." And I was in my car and at their house in minutes, just literally 2 minutes. I ran in to find my dad on the bathroom floor. He was unconscious and breathing. What I later found out was that he had been outside working in his yard. They had just built a new house, and he didn't like the way the plumber plumbed some stuff in the backyard. So he had his tractor out. He was digging up the backyard, and he jumped down off the tractor, slipped in the mud, fell, and hit his head. He got up, went inside, changed clothes, had a sandwich, and did what he did every day of his life. He left to go visit his 92-year-old mother. And when he came home, he said, "I have a headache. I'm going to go lay down." And so my mother left to go pick up my birthday present. And when she returned, she found him on the floor. What we didn't know at the time was that his brain was bleeding. And so by the time they got him to the hospital, there was so much blood that it had moved his brain over 2 inches. Now, my dad was absolutely not going to die on my birthday. And he didn't. He passed away the next day. And so, as a family and as entrepreneurs especially, we did what I would hope each and every one of you would have the ability to do. And that is that we took probably 6 weeks together and just spent the time supporting each other and being there and loving each other. And during that time, our employees got paid, our customers got taken care of. Everything was fine because we build businesses that can run without us. Number one, they are self-sustaining. They are sellable, right? I was raised to think that you build businesses like that. You don't build a job for yourself, you build a business. So when my dad passed away, I was at the funeral home. And when I left the funeral home after making the arrangements, I turned the corner and I passed a day spa. And I have, the day spa's been there 25 years. I've probably been there 100 times. And the woman who owned that day spa had passed away fairly suddenly, about 2 weeks before my dad did. And so when I turned the corner that day, what I saw was these big, heavy chains on the door and a for sale sign on the building. And it just Tammy, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, here we were able as a family to support each other, and our businesses still go on. And, my dad's legacy to this day still lives on in everything that he did. And she spent 25 years of her life building that business. But what she never did was stop and create it as a self-sustaining, sellable company. And so it was gone. And that to me just kind of changed everything I see for the entrepreneurs that I work with. As a business coach and consultant, I go out and help people build their businesses. And from that moment on, I went, oh my gosh, I need to make sure that everyone is building a business that can outlast them if they want it to, or be sold if they want it to, or transition to the next generation if they want it to. So yeah, it was a real eye-opening event for me. I didn't even realize people didn't build businesses that way because that's what I was taught to do, right? So, yeah. So that's my story, Tammy.
Well, I'm listening because I hear my own son in my head as you're telling that story. Telling me, he goes, "Mom, if anything happens to you, we don't know anything about your business. And I said, well, I'm working on it now, trying to make it so that it could be sold or move on without me, because it's true. Today, at this moment, my business is not sustainable really without me, but my goal is to make it sustainable so that it can be sold in the future. So listening to you is I'm learning a lot just in your story. And you also said something very interesting. You said when you went to work for the 2 years in the JOB that you couldn't handle it because nobody could make a decision. And of course, the name of your company is Decisive Minds. And I want people to know a little bit more about you beyond, the story, but you actually are a Stevie award-winning business consultant, international speaker, best-selling author, and you won an award as outstanding mentor at the Harvard Business Expert Forum at the Faculty Club, where I met you. Yeah. And the name of your strategy is very interesting. Decisive Minds Business Building Method. So can you tell me a little bit now about who you help and how do you help them?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a real heart for entrepreneurs in general, but my specialty is with service-based entrepreneurs, and that may be, yeah, that's exactly right. That is you. That is the the doctor, the attorney. We're all providing services, right? Building a business and providing a service. Excuse me. And so most of my clients show up looking for a couple of things. I'm so sorry. I've been getting over this cold for about 2 weeks. They've been in business for a while. They're successful, but they have built this machine around them that requires them to be there, right? To deliver either on the service or to constantly be there being the decision maker. And they come to me for multiple reasons. Normally, it's because they realize that they have to figure out how to make it something that either they can sell or transition, and they're wanting to get their life back. That's something I hear a lot from people. And so when I look at these businesses, I'm looking for a couple of things. Number one, what is it that we have to do to get that particular person, that owner, into a position that is more management and not the doer? So we're looking for that. But number two, when we look at what makes a sellable company, there are certain things in this day and age that people are looking for. Number one, you need to have an online aspect to your business. It has just become the thing that has to occur. And I don't care if you're the doctor, there are things that can be done through an online service or online business. And so I work with my clients to help them develop the processes, the revenue streams, the diversification, the team, all of these things that are needed to take that business to a point where they can sell it. When I look back, originally as a family, our plan was never to sell. We actually always transitioned from generation to generation. And when we made that decision that, hey, maybe we could sell this company and go do something different, we made that decision in 2004. And it took me until 2007. I mean, there are things you have to do and get in place to make it sellable. And it took me about 2.5 years to get it to that point where it was completely ready to run without us 100% and be a sellable entity. And so my clients come to me. That's one of the first conversations we have is what's the time frame we're looking at here? What is the ultimate goal that you want? And some of them aren't even ready to sell. They just know that they want it to be something that's sellable when they're ready. And so it's so much fun. I love to do what I do. I love to, I love people in general. I love the process of working with people. And I don't care what business you're in, you sell to people. And so when we look at marketing strategies, there are just some very simple things that people can do to shift things in their business that make it sellable. And so I come at it from a lot of different angles, Tammy.
Well, as I'm listening to you, I'm going, okay, hey, I've got parts of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm probably like a lot of people. We do have pieces of the puzzle, but there's probably some, the missing part. Like I know, obviously, that I have to be the person out there selling as opposed to the person doing.
Yes.
Because if I try to go sell and do, it's a different part of your business. The doing is totally different. So I think that's really important. Everything that you're talking about, I can visualize it in my mind. And like you said, as a family, originally it was like, well, it's a family business. We'll just have it carry on from generation to generation. But at some point it was like, well, why don't we do something different? And then you have to prepare for that. And 2.5 years doesn't really sound like that long in the scheme of things. So you probably must have had some systems already in place to do that. So talking about business people and about how you help people, what are some of the big misconceptions or myths related to how you work with people to help them grow their business to become, I guess, kind of like Pinocchio became a real boy, to become a real business that somebody would actually say, hey, Tammy, I'm going to pay you multi-millions of dollars for what you've created here. What are some misconceptions about that?
Yeah, there are a lot. Let's just choose a couple of them.
Okay.
So one of the things that I actually see often is just this lack of focus on a marketing strategy. The fact is, and you know this because you and I run in the same circles, there are, 100 different ways you can market your business. And it is really easy for the whole shiny object syndrome thing to show up. Like one day I'm doing a webinar. Oh, the next day I think I'll go do a telesummit. Oh, the next day I think right. And so when I look at especially businesses that are moving to an online marketing strategy, the options are so vast that people don't choose what's best for them, number one. And then, number two, stick to it, right? They don't give it long enough time to be able to prove whether it does or doesn't work. My clients know they do not call me and say, oh, that webinar didn't work, because I'm a numbers girl. I have an accounting degree. I build businesses by the numbers, and I'm going to make you prove conversion to me. I'm going to have you show me that it didn't work, right? I think a lot of times it's almost like that whole throwing spaghetti at the wall kind of thing. Entrepreneurs usually did not go to business school. They didn't go to a marketing class. They're just trying to figure it out. And so because of that, they also not only are there 1,000 things out there to do, but they don't necessarily know what the metrics are, or what is it that shows that you've gotten results out of that. And so that's really a really big issue. The misconception being that you should be doing everything when it comes to marketing. I am not a believer in that. I believe that you find 2, 3, 4 marketing strategies that work very well for your business, and you do them over and over and over and over and over. You perfect them, you're consistent, and with consistency comes growth. So that's like a really big one for me. And then the other thing I see for a lot of my clients is that they really can't see that they can do their business in a different way. And I'll just give you an example. I have a client right now who owns a golf course aeration company. So he goes in and aerates golf courses, right? And so when he hired me, he had this desire to sell his company, but he could not. He was like, this isn't going to work. I'm not making enough money. How am I going to get any more people? Nobody wants to work. I mean, just all of this was going on in his head. And that's what was showing up in his business at that point. And the fact is that I can come in as an outsider, look at what the truth is and what the reality is, and then started to show him that there's some different processes, and boom, everything turns around. He could only see it in one way, right? And he could only see it in the struggle, unfortunately, for him. But at this point, we're about 6 months into working together, and he's doubled his business, and he's brought on new team employees. He has new equipment that he's purchased because he's got all these new clients, right? You have to be real careful that just because you've done something the way you're doing it for a long time, it doesn't mean that it's the way it should always be done. There are other things that might be possible. So I think those are probably two really big ones for you right there.
I think you're right. To be able to, number one, understand that if you're going to create a real company, again, I use that word a lot because it typically can't just be you. You have to have other people, and again, that doesn't necessarily have to be employees, but outsourcing of some kind. So, because one person only has, 24 hours in a day, and so many talents. Like you talk about being a numbers person, and numbers, that's one of my weaknesses. Is I really need somebody who's really good at the numbers part of it, because I'm good at the creative part of it, and the language parts and things like that. And I can see the big vision, but obviously to understand the marketing and the ROI, or return on investment, and the metrics and how to do that, and what is important. I think it's interesting that you were talking about the shiny object syndrome, because we just had Hurricane Irma blow through.
Right.
And if I had any realization as I was there without a computer except for my cell phone, and I could check my emails, I actually was like, okay, people, quit marketing to me. Quit sending me these emails trying to send me your $27, sell me your $27 product of the latest, greatest, whatever, that I know that doesn't work, because that's how people they just get sucked into spending, $27 at a time trying to grow their business, when in fact, those Band-Aids may not be exactly what you need. You need to have real processes and make real decisions like that. I do want to ask you about, how did you determine to call your business Decisive Minds, the business building method? That's my curiosity.
Yeah. So let me tell you about Decisive Minds first. First of all, since I was a little girl, I have been told how decisive I am. I make a decision. I will make your decisions. I make a decision, and if I made a wrong decision, I make it right afterwards. So what I don't do is wait around, just kind of hoping at some point I'll figure out how to maybe make the right decision. Not me. I just make a decision. So my entire life I have heard that. And, in 2009, I was looking for what my next thing was. We had sold the trucking company in the grocery store. And so I happened upon a business coach, and I didn't even know that existed out there. And I thought, oh, well, I can do this, right? And so I asked him if he could help me, teach me how to be a consultant, how to make money doing that. And he said, sure. So I hired him. That was in November of 2009. And I hadn't even started my company yet. I didn't have a name. And so I went and had my first meeting with him in January, and came home from that meeting and went, okay, I need a name for my company. And I went to bed that night, and I woke up, I had a dream, and I woke up in the morning and I heard the words Decisive Minds. And if I said, okay, great, if the URL is available, that's the name of my company. And sure enough, decisiveminds.com was available. And thus the company was born, January 10th, 2010. So, yeah, very, just kind of, it was just kind of given to me. It is so me. It is unbelievable. Right. And beyond that, it is just about the simplicity of a business method that works. I do not believe in mass confusion. I don't believe in a million steps. I don't believe in anything being actually really too hard. I like things to be fun. If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. So I don't ask my clients to do anything I wouldn't do, right? Actually, I can prove that because I wouldn't ask an employee my entire lifetime to do anything I wouldn't do. And I still get now, 10 years after I sold that company, every boss's day, I get a card from my employees that worked for me when I sold that company. So, I'm a big believer in if I can't do it, why would I ask you to do it? And I want it to be simple. So that's really, the method is clean, it's easy, and it's simple. It is work. As entrepreneurs, there are things we have to do, and we just need to do them consistently. And so, when we are consistently seen, we build our community, we understand our revenue streams, we understand our marketing, and then, we work on our systems. What else is there, right? So just time to have fun and vacation. That's what I like to do. I like to travel and vacation.
Yes. And if you can make work play, that sounds really fun. I know that when we were at Cambridge, that was work, but it was also fun, like a vacation too, because it was just a very cool place to be. When you work with people, I know a lot of people sometimes they go, well, yeah, all this mentoring and coaching stuff is all cool and everything, but it costs money. And do you find that that's one of the big objections that people will come up with? And why do you think that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that that's the go-to objection for most people. I don't believe that it's the real objection for most people, but it is the go-to objection. People immediately say things are too expensive. And I don't care if it's coaching or that shirt hanging at, Macy's, right? The immediate go-to is it's too much money. I think that the real reasons that people may make a decision not to say hire a consultant or a coach is because maybe they've, number one, done it in the past and it didn't work, right? Or maybe they don't trust themselves to actually implement what I teach them to do. So then what are they going to look like, right? I think those are really the true issues. It's that fear of if someone shows me how to do it and I can't do it, then what does that say about me? So I try to deal with those kind of things and those kind of objections and help people see past that. It's not about you knowing everything. If you knew what to do to make it sellable or self-sustainable, guess what? You'd be doing that, right? So you are, Tammy, you are the epitome of most entrepreneurs. You have a passion. You're a creative person. You're building this business in the best way you know how. But not necessarily did you go get an MBA, right? Or you're learning marketing because that's what you got to learn along the way. That's normal, guys. Who wakes up and knows everything about business? No one does. I happen to be one of the lucky ones because I spent a lifetime in every aspect of business, literally. I mean, when I was a little girl, Tammy, in the grocery store, one of my jobs was to bag potatoes and onions and ice in 10-pound bags. And I could bag them like literally, I didn't need a scale. I did it so much. Okay. So from bagging potatoes to bagging groceries to running accounts to collections to taking care of clients to big multi-million-dollar contracts, I've been able to work in all those spots. Most entrepreneurs don't have that luxury. So that's where a coach or consultant should come in. And let me tell you guys, I work with coaches and consultants. And so when I'm looking for who am I going to work with, because maybe there are things I don't know. 10 years ago, I didn't know anything about social media. I didn't know anything about online marketing. We didn't do that. We were in the world prior to that, right? The world of business. So I hired people to teach me how to do that. When I'm doing that, when I'm hiring someone in a consultant or a coaching position, I look for, number one, are they current and relative? Meaning, are they currently doing in their business what they're teaching me to do? Or if I'm hiring somebody to do social media, are they using today's strategies or what they learned 6 years ago? Because trust me, they are completely different today, right? Yes. So that's the first thing I look for is what is their relevance and their current situations. The second thing I look for is, are they far enough ahead of me to be running to show me how to avoid the potholes, or whatever you call them, right? I want someone, if I'm going to pay you, I want someone to say, you know what, I tried that. This is what happened to me when I did it. This is what I think it's going to look like for you. Let's make a decision about whether you're going to do that or not. So I need them to be a little further along than I am in whatever I'm hiring them for. And then the third one, guys, is really that gut feeling. I want you to trust yourself. When you're speaking to a coach or consultant, you should have a feeling. They're either a fit or they're not. And if they're not, it's okay. Not every personality works well together, right? There are some times when your gut just tells you shouldn't do something, and you need to learn to trust that. So for me, Tammy, that's my 3 go-tos when I'm looking to hire someone in a position of coaching or consulting.
That's solid gold. Right there, because I think seriously, that instinct or that knowledge inside of you about, is this person right, a right fit for me? And then, like you said, you don't have to know everything, but you should, if you're going to be coaching or mentoring someone, you should have at least be able to say, I did do that and it didn't work the way that you're thinking that it works. And right. The cutting edge stuff is really important, because you're absolutely right. How you did social media 6 years ago is not how you're doing it today. So if I wanted to work with you, how could I find out more information?
Oh, well, so first of all, you could go to the website, which is decisiveminds.com. I have tons of information there. I've been blogging now for 7 years on business development. So there's lots and lots and lots of things for you to get access to there. And if you're looking to contact me, send me an email at Michele with one L, Michele at decisiveminds.com, or call my office. It's 337-419-1860, 337-419-1860. I'd love to talk to you guys.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And I just want to remind everyone, Michele is known as the results lady. So that might give you a little hint about what her clients are saying about her, if that's her nickname. So thank you so much. I've learned so much about how to create a business that I could sell someday or leave behind for my children, because obviously, I didn't intend to just make a job for myself. I really do want to have a real business and leave a lasting legacy behind, just like your dad.
Very good. I love that, Tammy.
So thank you. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
You've been listening to the Thought Leaders Show. To get all past shows and to get all future shows, go to thoughtleadershow.com.